Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Thursday, September 28th, 2017. And here are some of today's trends in the news. On the market front, only Hang Seng and Shanghai hanging lower. Everybody's up. Not a lot, but they're up. Oil's down a bit. Gold's up a little bit. So what's going on? Hey, remember all those forecasts at the beginning of the month? Watch out for September. Watch out for September. You're going to see a massive correction. We didn't say that. We're saying there's a correction coming, but we said not in September. And so, once again, we call the Trump victory before any other magazine. We call the Trump rally. It continues. And one of the reasons why it's continuing, they're coming out with that tax break. And we're going to talk more about that a little later on. But that pushed the markets up today somewhat. And the reason being is that the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed about 40 points higher Thursday. And the small cap Russell 2000 index hit an all-time high after the release of the GOP's highly anticipated tax reform plan. And in economic news, the final read of the U.S. second quarter gross domestic product showed a 3.1% increase, but weekly jobless claims rose to 272,000. That's only up a little bit, but the GDP number is basically what's expected. So when you average it all out, we're probably going to look at a little over like a 2.2, 2.4% GDP. Not much. So crude went back down because of, who knows why. The reason it went down is that it's got too high. And there's expectations that there's going to be more demand out there this year by maybe, let's see, according to the International Energy Agency, they raised the 2017 global demand growth estimate to 1.6 million barrels per day from 1.5 million barrels per day, citing stronger than expected demand growth in the United States and Europe. That doesn't make any difference because weekly crude production in the United States is at 9.5 million barrels per day. And by 2020, we will be the biggest producer of oil and natural gas in the world. More supply than demand. And when those prices go up, more rigs online, more drilling. So we don't see the prices going much higher than where they are. U.S. crude has gained 9% in the last 14 days, while Brent is up 7% in that time period. So you had an impressive run, and now you're seeing a pullback. We stand by our forecast. It's been going on for 2 years now, and we've been right on the money. So what happened to gold? Well, beep, bop, bop, boop, up and down, closed up a little bit. Again, with that Trump tax plan, they're expecting more economic growth. And the higher the economic growth, the stronger the dollar gets. And the stronger the dollar gets, the more expensive it is for others with other currencies to hold gold, while higher bond returns reduce the attractiveness of non-yielding bullion. So interest rate increases raise bond yields and tend to boost the dollar. So there you go. Not bullish for gold, but the other reason gold's going up, more problems over there in Kurdistan. People voted for independence. The Turks don't like it. By the way, they're cutting off oil to them too, they're promising. And of course, the Iranians don't want it to happen. The Iraqis don't want it to happen. So there's going to be some turmoil there. If there's turmoil in the Middle East, particularly in areas such as Kurdistan and North Iraq that produce oil, then you could see the prices spike. Absent that, it's where it is. Now on to the Trump tax plan. Yay! Once again, the guy running for office lies his way into office. Yeah, he was going to give all us little folks a big tax break, right? and hit those big corporations, especially them ones that were shipping their profits overseas. Well, things have changed a little bit. Again, it's still too early. Trump eyes corporate tax cuts in push to revamp system. Bump-a-da-bump. Front page story. What is most interesting is how ill-informed this plan is, says Steve Rosenthal at the Tax Policy Center. They promised us a plan again, then delivered a 9-page skeleton with wide margins. We have yet to see anything of any content. The Wall Street Journal. Trump backs steep cuts in tax rates. Estate taxes that Republicans said will boost economic growth and benefit middle-income families. How could that be? Because only a small handful of people have that estate tax. Right now, I think it's like 5 million or something. And anything above that, you have to declare. So how many people are left with $5 million when their parents died? Not a lot. So it's either 3 or 5, that kind of number like that off the top of my head. Then we have the New York Times. Sweeping Trump tax plan, vague on details and costs. But they go on to say the tax plan that the Trump administration outlined on Wednesday is a potentially huge windfall for wealthiest Americans. It would not directly benefit the bottom third of the population. And as for the middle class, the benefits appear to be modest. It will sharply reduce taxation on business income, primarily benefiting the small share of the population that owns the vast majority of corporate equity. And again, it says the estate tax over here, which affects just a few thousand uber-wealthy families each year, and the alternative minimum tax, a safety net designed to prevent tax avoidance. And according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, they estimate approximately half of the tax cuts would go to the top 1%. Yay! Trump gave us the hump, huh? Yep, Obama folked us, and Trump is giving us the hump. Yep. Those making more than $700,000 per year for an average cut of $150,000 per year. Within this group, the richest of the rich, the top 0.1% would receive a 30% of the tax cuts for an average cut of $800,000 per year. The billionaires need more money. This is disgusting. And what gets even more disgusting is they're going to tax cut for the wealthiest individuals who currently have a top tax rate of 39.6%. They're going to lower that to 35%. It should be 90% that it was when Eisenhower was president. This is a shaft for we the little people. A married couple with one child that earns less than $24,850 a year, you know how much they're going to get? No tax credit under the plan. But if you're a similar family earning $48,700 a year, you're going to get a tax cut of the grand total of $180. This is a shaft, man. It's Trump. We got clumped. We got humped. And again, on the campaign trail, he said, no more of these corporations dumping their money overseas. Yeah. Well, they have a repatriation tax this time. One time. One time and one time only. And then bye-bye bucks. So that's it. That's on the tax plan. On to some other economic news. Ford and Lyft to develop self-driving taxis by 2021. GM invested $500 million in Lyft in 2015 and is planning to test hundreds of electric self-driving taxis on public roads. And you know the big story in our Trends Monthly, driverless vehicles, the next .com bust. Hey, but that's only our forecast. What else do we have here? Ross presses Beijing to level trade. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross said he pressed China during his visit to Beijing this week to level a lopsided playing field for American companies there. And he's right. It is lopsided. And this is positive news. And there's going to be better deals. And what's important about this is also the next one over here, and that is wide rift remains as NAFTA round ends. U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer said, much work remained on the difficult and contentious issues. It's being discussed. These rotten trade deals are being dealt with, and they never have been since they've been put in place. So that is a positive in our forecast analysis, because we got to bring this dough back home. The facts are there. Since NAFTA, the World Trade Organization deals have happened, our high-paying jobs, manufacturing, production jobs went overseas, and we got lousy jobs here that pay a non-living wage. Again, only the facts. 51% of the people in America with full-time jobs are earning $30,000 a year or less. And under Obama, all the jobs that have been created, 94% of them under his administration, are temporary jobs. So this is a positive. We need to move the money back. On to some international news. Mattis criticizes aid to Taliban. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis criticized Iran and Russia for continuing to arm and support Taliban fighters in Afghanistan, and that American officials say provides the militant group with both firepower and added legitimacy. Militant group? Hey, mad dog. You mad in the mind too? The Taliban were there. They're not a militant group. You're the occupiers, right? The militant group are the puppets that you put in place, and you guys haven't won this war in 16 years. Of course, Russia says they acknowledge they share information with the Taliban in an effort to combat Islamic State, but has denied sending weapons. Iranian officials say they have contacts with the insurgent group, but deny providing weapons or sanctuary. And if they did, what business is it of the United States? You invaded a sovereign country that did nothing to you. Oh, they were hiding Osama bin Laden, I told you. Yeah, so somebody was hiding here that another country didn't like. Does that mean you bombed the whole joint? Oh, and yes, the Taliban were going to give over bin Laden. They said they'd give him to another country, but Bush said, no, we won't accept that. We're going to bomb you and occupy you for 16 years. And Mattis escapes rocket attack in Afghanistan. That's right. The Karzai International Airport was bombed where he was. Both Taliban and ISIS have claimed responsibility for the incident. The Karzai International Airport, yeah, they named it after the other puppet that the United States put in place. So that's the official name. Like they rename all these bridges and everything else. The Triborough Bridge. Oh, yeah, now it's the RFK Bridge. Yeah, the 59th Street Bridge. Well, now it's the Koch Bridge. The Tappan Zee Bridge. Now it's the Cuomo Bridge. What a bunch of garbage. Spending all this dough so we remember crappy politicians. Anyway, Mattis complained the attack was, quote, a criminal act, a classic example of what the Taliban is up to right now. Criminal attack? It's a criminal attack that you're there. You are the criminals. You're criminals in Iraq. You're criminals in Syria. You're criminals in Yemen. You're criminals in Somalia. You're criminals in Sudan. You're criminals in Mali. You're criminals in the 800 bases that the United States has in 800 countries. Stay home, mind your own business, and maybe this won't happen. But that was a criminal act, right? After Mattis targeted U.S. airstrike in Kabul, kills several civilians. Yay, we got even, huh? Following a series of militant rocket attacks against the Kabul airport, militant again, an apparent attempt to target Defense Secretary James Mad Dog Mattis, the U.S. responded with an airstrike to support a military operation against those responsible. The United States said it didn't go as planned, and instead of hitting the militants, officials say the missiles malfunctioned and hit civilians. Isn't that nice, huh? More murder by Murder Inc., and no one cares. No? Oh, the big story is some guy with a samurai sword was in the London tubes, in the subway. Oh, yeah, guy with a sword. But bomb, murder, slaughter, that's okay. Oh, the other news is all the videos coming out of how the United States is destroying Mosul and Raqqa, the destruction, the total obliteration by American airplanes. Google's not allowing them on YouTube. They're ripping them off. And Google is also going after alternate consortium news, World Socialist website. The data's there, traffic is way down, and so too is it on our YouTubes that we put up once a week. They're down significantly. Google is targeting all of us who they don't like that are anti-war. The facts are there, you could look it up. Because if you're not speaking anti-Russian, pro-war, more murder, bigger military, and more money for the multinationals, poof, they go after you. And they're going after all of us. The facts are there. Again, it's either you occupy peace or you keep occupying hate, murder, immorality that's being sold every day by the mainstream media. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's trends in the news.